iPad mini has always been one of quiet resilience. But to understand where we are going, we have to look at the legendary iPad mini 5, a device that many of you are still holding on to today because of its perfect balance of size and reliability. But as we move deep into 2026, those who have stayed loyal to their iPad mini 5 are finally reaching a breaking point where the software is outpacing the hardware. We aren't just talking about a minor spec bump anymore. The whispers from the supply chain have turned into a roar, suggesting that Apple is preparing a leap so massive it will make the transition from the iPad mini 5 feel like jumping from a typewriter to a supercomputer. For years, users of that classic generation loved the portability but craved the edge-to-edge display and the modern power of the Pro chips. And the upcoming leaks suggest Apple is finally merging those worlds into a single, pocketable powerhouse. If you've been clinging to your iPad mini 5 for its headphone jack or its familiar form factor, you might want to pause because the data we're seeing for the next generation is designed to finally make you upgrade. Welcome back to my channel Tech Rivet for exclusive insights into the future of tech. Subscribe my channel, hit the bell icon for more tech updates. The heart of this new beast is rumored to be the A20 Pro chip, a 2nm marvel that skips entire generations of performance, leaving the aging processor of the iPad mini 5 in the rearview mirror. Imagine the power of a high-end desktop workstation tucked into a chassis that fits in your jacket pocket, handling the most intense AI tasks without even breaking a sweat. The biggest story, however, isn't just the raw power. It's the window through which you'll see it, and this is where the iPad mini 5 users will feel the biggest change. For the first time in the history of the Mini, Apple is reportedly moving to a tandem OLED display. This changes everything. We're talking about infinite contrast ratios and deep blacks that make the LCD screen of the iPad mini 5 look washed out and dated by comparison. Some sources are even pointing toward a 120Hz promotion refresh rate, finally bringing the Pro experience to the compact form factor. This would solve the jelly scrolling issue once and for all, making every swipe and scroll feel as smooth as liquid. When you combine this display technology with a rumored 12 GB of RAM, you get a device that isn't just a mini version of the iPad. It becomes the most efficient, portable Pro tool ever created, a true spiritual successor that honors what people loved about the iPad mini 5 while catapulting it into the future. But Apple isn't just stopping at the screen and the chip. The chassis itself is rumored to undergo a subtle but significant redesign that maintains the everywhere philosophy of the iPad mini 5. We're hearing reports of a liquid glass aesthetic for iPadOS 26 that will look stunning on a potential edge-to-edge display with even slimmer bezels. There's also talk of improved water resistance and a brand new internal speaker system that uses vibration-based technology rather than traditional speaker grills. This could allow for a more seamless, durable design that makes this the ultimate travel companion, much like how the iPad mini 5 was the king of the commute for over half a decade. The camera system is also expected to get a landscape-oriented front-facing lens, finally fixing the awkward angle we've dealt with since the days of the iPad mini 5 home button era. Now, let's talk about the competition and why the iPad mini 5 was so hard to replace. In a world where foldable phones are trying to steal the compact tablet crown, Apple is doubling down on the dedicated small slate. Why? Because a foldable screen still carries the compromise of a crease and a fragile surface, whereas the rigid reliability that made the iPad mini 5 a favorite among pilots and doctors is being preserved here. The upcoming model remains a professional-grade tool that supports the Apple Pencil Pro with haptic feedback and barrel roll features. It's the choice for those who need a reliable flight deck, a portable medical record, or a gaming machine that doesn't cramp their hands. As the release window points toward late 2026, the anticipation is building for an October event that will likely see thousands of iPad mini 5 users finally trading in their devices for something that can handle the next decade of innovation. Ion. The pricing strategy is also a point of intense debate, especially for those used to the more accessible entry price of the iPad mini 5. While the base iPad is staying budget-friendly, the Mini is moving into a more prosumer bracket. With OLED and 2nm chips, we could see a slight price hike, But for the audience in the US, UK, and Canada, the value proposition is clear. You are paying for the world's most powerful computer that you can hold in one hand. This is the device that bridges the gap between the iPhone 18 Pro Max and the MacBook Pro. It's for the creator who is always on the move, the student who wants to take handwritten notes without carrying a heavy bag, and the tech enthusiast who has been waiting since 2019 for a reason to put down their iPad mini 5. As we look closer at the internal leaks, the storage options are also seeing a massive shift that will shock anyone still managing files on an older iPad mini 5. The days of 64 gigabytes are long gone. We are looking at a base model of 128 gigabytes or even 256 gigabytes to accommodate the massive AI models and high-resolution media that define the 2026 tech landscape. Connectivity is also getting a future-proof upgrade with Wi-Fi 7 and potentially a dedicated N1 wireless chip for ultra-low latency. This means your cloud gaming, your file transfers, and your smart home controls will be instantaneous. The iPad mini is no longer the forgotten member of the family. It is becoming the flagship for Apple's new era of ultra-portable, AI-first computing. So, should you finally let go of your iPad mini 5? If you're currently using that classic model, the jump to the 2026 version will feel like moving from a reliable old sedan to a supersonic jet. The combination of OLED, promotion, the A20 Pro chip, and Apple Intelligence creates a perfect storm of upgrades that only happens once every several years. We are watching the supply chain closely, and every new CAD leak confirms that Apple is putting its best engineering into this small frame to ensure it lives up to the legacy of the iPad mini 5 while defining the next 5 years of mobile tech. The wait might have been long, but the reward will be a device that makes you wonder how you ever settle for less.